Hello everybody. This video is going to be about investing in precious metals. Um, I don't know too much about any other investments, so precious metals is a very small investment in this world, but it can be a very exciting and rewarding one, as it is one of the only investments, or one of very few investments, you can actually really own in your hand. As a lot of investments, as you know, stocks, they can go to zero value. Properties, you can lose that if you can't pay the property tax, or your tenants can't pay the rent. It can take up to 6 months for them to get evicted. Those two are the most rewarding investments out of all the investments out there. And so you always heard the words, I'm sure: the higher the risk, the higher reward. Those two are the best investments by far. That's how you're going to get wealthy, through the stock market and properties, especially properties. They don't make any more land. Land is here. That's it. It's done. Okay. But precious metals has to be mined in this underneath the ground and processed. There's fees and there's a lot of other things. And it also is based on basically the US dollar, which is the world currency today. And I tried that investment in July 2012 with had no prior at all any other investment. This was my first investment. I had $30,000+ that was making me literally $1 the most a month. And not that that was insulting, have $30,000 in the bank and you are literally getting nothing in return for your money. Property, wasn't ready yet to actually get into that area. Stocks, I was scared about that. Don't know which company to go for. I don't know what company is going to be the next fake company out there. And as we all know, from Corzine, who basically stole, or maybe people got their money back, and so forth and so forth. Okay, you have to be a very smart investor to understand stock markets, to stay alive, where you can short, long, where you're always making money on that. Because our 401ks can get easily slaughtered, like it did in 2000. Lost over 50% of my retirement fund on that alone. Okay, you're in no control of that money. I don't like not to be in control of that money. You are a loser if you're not in control of that money, your money. If somebody else is in control of it, you're in a loser's game. They're always getting a profit, whether you're winning or gaining profit or losing profit in your investment. That's why they're laughing. It's called the sucker's game. They're always on the winning side, and you're either on the winning side with them or the losing side. It's not good. The average citizen is getting broke. In fact, and when I got into silver and gold in 2012, when I started on YouTube, I started listening to the Mike Maloney's, the Mike Dillard's, the Robert Kawasaki's, Eric Sprott's, David Morgan's. I never got to anybody that was well educated, that actually knew about precious metals history. And it was my fault to throw $30,000+ into precious metals, thinking that's going to buy me a home with 500,000 ounces, like Mike Maloney said, and a few others. Robert Kawasaki's throwing up cash in his hand, saying cash is trash. Well, that guy was a fraud. If you actually do history on him on YouTube, you'll see him actually having seminars charging people like you and I, who are lost in this world, trying to find a way to get ahead. That they will charge you $500 to sit down on a seminar, and then telling you that if you want to learn anything about what he has to say, you need to max out your credit card to find out anything more. He didn't tell you anything for $500. Plus, you pay 3 days hotel, motel fees, whatever, to hear absolutely zilch. This is why he's called a fraud. His book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I have 4 of those books, okay, was also a fraud and a myth story about his father being poor and his best friend's father being rich, and telling him, which side do you want to be on? The entrepreneur to be rich, or do you want to be the average day worker who's going to be a slave and always going to be poor? Okay? So I bought into the gold and silver. It's going to save me through an economic collapse and whatever else you want to BS you want to hear on YouTube or anywhere else. Well, if you do your due diligence, like I was supposed to do in the beginning, okay, and for you too, you would realize how dangerous investing in gold and silver in bullion form, like Eagles, Maple Leafs, Philharmonics. Not saying they're not beautiful, not saying they're not having times to be a great investment, which every asset class has their time. So listen clearly to what I say. They fail most of the time throughout history, which they do not mention. And if you don't do your history or your research on this like I did after I got burned, you would learn that from mid-70s to 1980s, when the Hunt brothers cornered the silver market and almost crushed the stock market, which is what made the Federal Reserve step in and crush these manipulators that literally had half the silver market, silver physical, in their back pockets, which they literally try to get these Saudi Arabians to invest into silver and totally crush everything. And guess what? His nephew, forgot the name of the guy, assassinated him to invest in silver in this way, because it is going to be a disaster and you're going to lose all our oil field wealth. They literally killed a guy who was about to have a sit-down meeting and most likely set an agreement with the Hunt brothers to get into this silver manipulation market. And he killed him. And that was the best thing that Saudi Arabia ever did. Think about that. You got to kill somebody to save your wealth. How many people talk about that? That saved trillions of dollars. Because what happened in 1980, the Hunt brothers got stopped by the Federal Reserve and they went bankrupt. They went from billionaires. Think about that for a second. If us watching this video now were billionaires and then going bankrupt, where you don't have nothing, that all the silver you had to go back to the people that invested in silver, that you had to give them the physical silver and so forth, and you literally went bankrupt because you were caught by manipulating a market, which is no longer allowed by the Federal Reserve or the United States. Okay? Which started again by these slick guys, Mike Maloney, Eric Sprotts, David Morgans, Chris Wayne's, you name it that you see on YouTube, that anybody says that silver is going to be going through the roof, got to get your hands on it. Eric Sprott, David Morgan, they all sold out in 2011 as they were convincing investors to get in. They were selling. In 2013, they will roll out. They probably don't have an ounce of silver in their back pocket because they knew throughout history, from some early 70s or early 70s, there was two transfer of wealth times for the buoyant form of precious metals. Early 70s, which if you want to go from the time we get off the gold standard, from 1971, it was $1.39 an ounce for silver. And in 1980, it was past 50. It was $50. So you practically 50 times your wealth, 48 times your wealth. Okay. And this is what this Mike Dillard got me brainwashed to believe that you can buy a house in a July 12 when I got in. Because in 1971, if you would have put $20,000 into silver, okay, and in 1980, where it hit close to $50, this new all-time high, and you would have cashed out, okay, homes from 1971 to 1980 only doubled, okay, but the silver, if you would have sold it for 1980 from buying in 1971, could have bought you 16 homes. I repeat that. Instead of buying a home in 1971, if you would have put all your money into silver and sold it in 1980, it could have bought you 16 homes. That's if you didn't tell the United States government that your capital gains, which they forgot to tell you, okay, your $19,000 silver turned into $770,000. So your tax would have been what, 20-something%? I think now it's 28% on capital gains tax. So we'll knock it down and say 500,000 even. So maybe it'll buy you 12 homes. An excellent, the best investment you could have got your hands on. But it was all created by a manipulation of the Hunt. If it wasn't the Hunt brothers, silver never would have reached those prices. Now, what happened after the Hunt brothers? Silver went all the way back down to the $4 range and then some, and stayed there for 25 years. That is not a transfer of wealth. That is not a preservation of wealth when you have to wait for more than 2 decades to see any return for your money. That is a loss of investment. This is why you got to be careful. Insurance for your investment in precious metals is also a loss, okay? Precious metals is in buoyant form, eagles, make-believes, all that stuff, okay? Generic rounds or bars is timing, okay? Now, it happened again in the late 90s, when in the late 90s it stayed at $4, okay? Or early 2003, 2004. I do have videos on all this. So anybody who is interested, you can always look at my videos. I have it in my last 6-7 videos, why I'm investing in collectible buoyant and numismatic coins. You will find all this information in that video alone, okay? And I've done my history. I've done my research. Okay, I lost $12,000 listening to con men that are on YouTube because I didn't do my research before that. And I'm telling you people now on how to save your money and not lose your money, even if you still want to invest in precious metals, and which ways to go. Precious metals is an outstanding investment if you have knowledge and understanding. Like any investment, stock market still. Stock markets can crash to 6,000 Dow points tomorrow, and people will still turn into multimillionaires and billionaires on that if you knew what you were investing in. Okay? That's the key. There's longs, which is you're basically betting in stock market that the prices are going to keep going up, and then you can short the market, which is telling you it's going to crash. So if you're betting the stock market or a certain company is going to crash, like Apple did when it went from 800, If you say, you know what, I'm going to short Apple, and it went down to 100, and you had enough money, you made millions on it. As others who just put it in their 401ks or whatever, lost massive amount of wealth. Just because something goes down doesn't mean you're not making money. The very smart and intelligent ones are always making money. It's the people like you and I who are very uneducated and not learning. I lost $12,000 by not investigating and learning precious metals before I got in. Now I learned. Trust me, you lose $12,000 in any investment, you learn quickly. Okay? Very quickly. Okay? I lost my hopes of owning a home. The major down payment of my home. Oh, Michael, $30,000 would have put down a home. Yes. I don't want mortgages. Mortgage is debt. Massive debt. Okay? So now, let's move on a little bit to the next area of investment in precious metals. Because now, if you would invest in precious metals from, like I said earlier, from 1999, when it was about $4 to about to the year 2003, 2004, when it was still in low mid digits, and you're like, oh my God, there's going to be a collapse this time, stock market or whatever. Okay, this was the second transfer of wealth. If you were to throw all your investment, and I'm talking about every penny you got, okay, in 2011 it peaked at 48.50. I think in 1980 it was like 52.50. Okay, so that was the highest. I don't believe the 2011 hit that. I don't think it hit 50. I think it was 14.50, somewhere in that range. But we'll leave it at that. It's like 50.50, $50. You have entered the next transfer of wealth. From $4 silver or $6 silver to $50 silver. Massive wealth. But these Eric Sprotts, these David Morgans, and all these other people on YouTube, they sold out in 2011 as they were pumping it up to make you silver was the best investment in the world to buy. They knew it was the worst. It was time to cash out, not to get in. Okay? As there's an old saying, buy low, sell high. All those people that bought it, 28, 35, 40, 48, as the real comment, we're all selling and laughing behind closed doors. Like, this sucker believed that silver is rare. There's 1 billion ounces every year available on the market. 1 billion. Does that sound rare? Do you want to? There's 3 metals in this world. 3 that is rare. Palladium, and the rarest of them all is rhodium. The next is gold. The least and most available and will always be available is silver. More than 2/3 of silver of 900 plus billion ounces a year that are mined in silver comes from byproduct, which most people don't even realize. A byproduct, which is other metals put together, made as silver, which is very, very cheap to make. Not the $18 that the average miner needs, the average cost for silver to make. They're laughing at that. Do you realize that in the late 1800s, they had the Sherman Law that the mines actually fooled the U.S. government to believing that silver was was the best thing for the government to buy, and they forced it upon the U.S. government at that time to buy 4 million ounces a month. Our government had to buy 4 million ounces of silver every single month, whether we wanted it or not, to mint their coins. It's real money. And you know what they did with that money when they got from the silver? Because back then, our dollar was backed by gold. They took the money and asked for the gold. They took the gold. They were mining the silver and trading it for gold. And the United States, which is why in 1913, when the Federal Reserve came in, that avoided that contract completely. Said, no. This is collapsing the United States. You're taking the most valuable metal from us and giving us crap. Or I won't say the word crap. I would say the most least valuable metal. Because now you are literally sucking the wealth out of the United States. That's the true history of the United States on precious metals. You can look that up under Sherman law. Okay? So now, go back to where it was before. It's a two transfer of wealth from the early or the late 1999 to 2003 to 2011. All that other junk, those guys pumped it up. But ever since that, it failed. It's a 25-year, 30-year cycle where gold and silver as a buoyant form actually turns into a transfer of wealth. We make massive of wealth. And it always goes down after you have the manipulation going up, because nobody talks about that. Everybody talks about the manipulation going down. Well, let me tell you. The 1980s high was a manipulation from the Hunt brothers. And the 2011 high was from the Eric Sprotts, David Morgans, Mike Maloney, and so forth, that hyped it up as a manipulation to get people so scared of an economic collapse that everybody started believing that. They got slaughtered. Every time you believe in an economic collapse and you put your money in silver or gold, when they say it, you're done. You have lost your wealth and they gain their wealth. That's how they make millions. That's how millionaires are formed in the United States, which is why it's called the best country in the world, because it is. Because they allow a con men to fool you to being suckers. This is why the middleman is losing and becoming poorer and poorer, and the rich are becoming richer, because of bullshit stories that you keep believing because you're desperate from your 40, 60 hours a week plus and make things meet. You will never get ahead. Never, ever get ahead. You're going to always continue to lose. I have learned you can't listen to any of these freaking people. Anybody tells you this shit of any economic collapse, cash is trash, you leave. That will be the best decision of your life. Because if I did that decision, listening to this video now, as I did 3 years ago, it would have saved me $12,000. And I possibly could be saving you $12,000 now. If you're interested in learning what I'm investing in now, I'm still investing, but in the right forms. My name is The Mick Mac 88, you will see what I'm investing in now. And from 1999 to present, it has a remarkable best record to preserving your wealth in precious metals. Not saying it's the only one. There is Kookaburras, some Libertads, and some other coins that can easily preserve your wealth. Okay? Something that's in your hand, or something that you see. Okay? That will never go to zero value. Stock markets can go to zero value. Go to zero value because you can lose that. The government can literally take that from you. Okay? And leave you with nothing. American Eagle, silver, or Canadian maple leaf, or the Philharmonics, which is one of my favorite looking coins, at the cheapest of them all. It's always going to have value, but the problem is they continuously lose value or being stagnant for decades, and you're losing your wealth as everything else is increasing value. And all these con men like Eric Sprott, David Morgan, Mike Maloney are telling you to stay away from the stock market and property and stuff. Do you realize that the precious metals has been the worst investment since they started making their videos? They're trying to keep you away from where the real wealth is as they're going into it. Think about it. What did all the billionaires do to become billionaires? It wasn't gold and silver. It was owning businesses, stock markets, and properties. Especially businesses and properties. Business and properties are the two main features to becoming ultra wealthy, or should I say the keywords, financially free. It's in properties and businesses, okay? But you've got to be so well educated on properties because you got to know what locations, tenants, because if you have a whole big complex and you have the people that are broke and can't pay their payments and they have kids, it can take you up to 6 months to evict them. And that's 6 months of you not getting any income to pay for the property taxes or the mortgage on all that land if you don't already own it. But it's also the most rewarding one. I personally, right now, in my life right now, I lost $12,000 and I will rebound, losing that $12,000 in the precious metal market, but in the right forms. If you're interested, look at my videos, like I said earlier, the Micmac 88, and you will find out what I'm investing in. If you don't like that, I have other areas that can help you out to preserve your wealth from 20% up to 60% and an every 4-year basis since 1969. How many other investments that you know now that you can own in your hand that can say that? Very few. Okay? I have very powerful and knowledgeable connections that can and will help you with a few $100, $20, few $1,000 to invest in this area that you want to own in your hand and not let somebody else take a cut out, like stockbrokers do, or lose because a tenant can't pay their rent. Okay. Every asset class has a plus and minus. If you do not invest in the right areas of that asset class, you will get destroyed. You will get destroyed. And in properties and stock markets, you will lose everything. Precious metals, you will not. I didn't know what I was doing in precious metals. I lost 12,000 out of 30,000 plus. Okay. So technically, I lost about 50% of my wealth. With it all said and done, I lost half of my money by buying the wrong precious metals because I didn't have the knowledge and YouTube to teach me. It's out here now, people. Right here. The Micmac 88 will lead you and show you other channels that has been teaching me, the Micmac 88, on what to put your money into in precious metals that has gone up in value regardless of silver spot or gold spot. Okay. Numismatic is what it's called. Numismatic. Okay. Or collectible bullion. Not generic bullion. That is a quick flip, make your money and get out. I'm talking about something that you want to hold your hand of beauty that very few people can own. And you can put away underneath your mattress and not worry about the value or the price of gold and silver. And you know it's going up when the time comes. These are the coins you really want to hold on to, whether you want to have a retirement, give to your kids. Because let me tell you something, there's a thing called graphene that the scientists are working on now to make it economically sound for everybody to replace silver with. And silver right now today is based on industrial demand, not investment demand. Okay. It is the best atom that they found, the one atom. Okay. Not from graphene, but from graphite. Okay, they start from graphite. That they turn to graphene, which is only one atom thick, that is stronger than over 200-300 times of steel. Transparent, which means it's very hard to see if you can't see. Electricity goes through it better than any other metal we know. Silver, copper. Does it erode away like silver and copper, which is most likely in the future replace a lot of parts of silver, including solar panels, which has failed with solar panels because after 10 plus years, it needs to get replaced. So by the time you get your money's worth out of it, it needs to get replaced already. There's an old saying, out with the old, in with the new. Some people say a year or two before graphene will totally push silver out of the industrial metal. I'm going to give it 10 years. I'm going to give scientists enough time to figure out how to get that high quality, one atom thick. And anybody who understands chemistry, for those who don't, that is so small that actually you can get graphene from your pencil. Okay? If you scrub it against a piece of tape or on a piece of paper, okay? Scrub a piece. Graphene is on your pencil or graphite. If you were to, you took your piece of tape, stuck it on it, and kept going back and forth a whole bunch of time, eventually you will find one atom stick of graphite on it. I have a video on that. I have graphite block. Okay? I have it. The scientists have found something that they never thought was possible that could ever be possible on this earth. They found it, which is why scientists only know half the stuff that's around us that could possibly happen. If that, they're always mind boggled. Oh my God, graphite, we never thought of that. Oh! Humans are stupid when it comes to actual real technology of what things are around. Graphite can be, I have a video on it. Please watch my video. TVs that can roll in a little roll, and you can take it with you. All those high definition movies you watch, like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's not amazing. It's reality in the future. 10 years, 20 years, our kids' time, it's going to happen. And when that does happen, silver is going to be crushed in a buoyant form to a $4 level per ounce, because miners are making it as a byproduct. They can survive on $4 an ounce. They don't have to specifically mine for silver. They can mine at other metals. Just combine them together, and there you got your silver. So you see, people, it's all been a game thinking that silver needs to be over $18 an hour or $18 an ounce for miners to make money. It's a scam from the beginning to keep you brainwashed. This channel keeps you from being brainwashed, as I was. Stay in touch with this channel. Ask questions, and I will give you legitimate, real, honest answers. I love peace to everyone, all nations, race, nationalities, and so forth. Love you all. Looking for your response. Thank you.